We have drama. We have beef in tennis. This is very rare. This is exciting. I love it. I always have. So I don't resent any of it. Not what Zverev said, although I have my concerns, which I'll get into. Not what Daniil Medvedev said, certainly. Tension and conflict between human beings exists in all walks of life, especially in competitive walks of life, both athletic and non-athletic. And this has always existed in tennis, just like it exists in any other sport. It's just a matter of if players are going to be willing to go public with it. And it's so much more fun if they do. And more often than not, they don't. In this case, they did. So first, let's talk about what Zverev said. He started this, in the words of Daniil Medvedev in 2018, famous incident. We don't need to talk about that one. That was a different one. Zverev started it, all right, because he was asked after the match, how do you feel? Which is a very vague question that allows a player to go whichever direction they choose. And Zverev went with he is, quote, one of the most unfair players we have in the world direction. You can pause it right there if you haven't read everything that he said. Now, the follow-up naturally to that is, why is he the most unfair player in the world, and what are you so upset about? So somebody asked, what moments are you talking about? And he said, well, I start serving for the match at 5-4. He takes the stick off the net and throws it somewhere. Then, of course, he plays very much with the spectators. Then he goes to the toilet at 4-3 in the third set, although there is no toilet break at all. And those, once again, you can pause it, were his 3 complaints from the match. Apparently, Daniil did a lot of the same stuff in Indian Wells. I don't recall. I was on a plane during that match and unfortunately missed it. But let's go through his complaints. All right, let's start there. Does Zverev have a point on these? Okay, the first thing he said was the sticks, the net sticks. This was a weird incident. And upon watching it for the first time, I'll be honest, I was highly confused. I didn't understand what was happening. But Daniil took the single stick, which basically ensures that the net is the proper height, and he knocked it over. Zverev said he threw it. He didn't really throw it. He knocked it over. And then Carlos Bernardes came down from his chair and put it back. And he said, no, it's not broken. It's fine. Daniil went to his chair. It looked like Bernardes and Medvedev exchanged a laugh about it. You know, Carlos didn't seem particularly upset about what happened. Medvedev did not get a warning, and the match was not delayed at all. Zverev went to go serve for the match. Was this good behavior? No, it's certainly, again, I am confused about even why he did it, but it seems like he did it because he was upset about getting broken. And it was not really a cool move, especially because Bernardes, although he didn't seem upset about it, had to go fix it. So not great. I don't think I love it. Let's go to the next one. The crowd stuff. He was playing with the crowd quite a bit. Okay, I think this refers to when the crowd started whistling at him because Daniil Medvedev wanted a mark to be checked on the clay court. And there's this weird thing that happens, especially in France and Italy, and I've never understood it, where when a player wants a mark checked, sometimes, fans start whistling and booing like it's some cardinal sin to want to get a mark checked. That's always baffled me. But Medvedev, in response to the negativity from the crowd, actually egged them on. He said, I can't hear you. He said, be louder. He he played up the villain role, and that made the crowd even more rambunctious. But really what it did is it made them cheer louder for Zverev and cheer louder against Medvedev. Is that bad sportsmanship? No. In what world is that bad sportsmanship? When a crowd is booing you, you should get to handle it however you wish. And I see nothing wrong with what Daniil did. Okay, the bathroom break. Zverev said Medvedev took a bathroom break at 4-3 in the third. This is true. He did. And it wasn't in between sets when most players take a bathroom break. But what Medvedev did was he asked Bernardus, hey, if I can go to the bathroom in 90 seconds, can I do that? Because a changeover is 90 seconds. So as soon as the game ended, Medvedev sprinted right to the bathroom right away. And then he sprinted back after he peed. And there was a slight delay. I would say he took between 100 and 120 seconds before he was in his ready position, ready to return Zverev's serve for the next game. So there was a minuscule delay. He didn't get a warning. Maybe he should have gotten a warning. But if he did, no big deal. It happens all the time now in tennis. In the serve clock era, you get a warning for delay of game and you move on. It's not a big deal. But did Medvedev commit an act of bad sportsmanship? I can't really see it. I'm struggling to see it. Man had to piss. Man took a piss. He was back very, very quickly. I'm not understanding what Zverev is so upset about. If, and there have been complaints about bathroom breaks in the past, right? Like Andy Murray when he was playing Stefanos Tsitsipas. But that is because, and this was actually quite common on the tour before they implemented rules, that is because players would go to the bathroom and inexplicably disappear for 8 to 10 minutes. And the guy who just won the set, usually, is like, hello, can we play? Can we play tennis here? Like, this is really disrupting the flow. And I had the momentum, and now you're going to take 10 minutes somehow to change your damn shorts. And it shouldn't take that long. So anyone who used to complain about that had a point. But this was not that at all. This was a very quick bathroom. I can't even call it a break because it wasn't really a break. It was a bathroom run. Not to mention, Zverev on the first point of the game hit a service winner, held serve, and then broke serve to serve for the match. So this bathroom break that supposedly disrupted him or distracted him or was or got in his head or whatever, well, it seemed to help. It didn't seem to hurt because Zverev won the next 2 games and served for the match. So essentially, I think out of the 3 points Zverev made, 2 of them are absolutely nonsense. One of them, I guess, I think he has a point that it was not a sportsmanlike thing for Daniil to do. Now, in general, Medvedev is not an angel. He has done some things that I think is highly worthy of criticism. What bothers me is when players treat others poorly. That's out of bounds. Medvedev has said awful things to umpires. I have called it out. I hate it. Medvedev once did like a monkey gesture to people in the crowds. That is crossing the line. It's out of bounds to me. These things are worthy of criticism. But he knocked over the net stick, he egged on the crowd, and he went to take a piss. Really? Honestly, my main takeaway from this incident, which again, I kind of love it. I'm into it. My main takeaway from this incident is how fragile Zverev is as a competitor. Because if that's the first thing that he wanted to talk about after that match, and I know in his response, he did take responsibility for doing a bad job of blocking that stuff out and playing good tennis and winning the match, particularly when it was time to serve for the match twice. So he did acknowledge that. But if that's the first thing that he wanted to talk about, it means on the court, he was having these thoughts and these resentments. And he genuinely feels like he's been wronged here. He genuinely feels that way. And what he should be feeling is that he screwed up and that he bears 100% of the responsibility for losing that match. And that in no way is he a victim of any kind. That's, I think, how he should internalize it in the most healthy way possible. The way that a champion would internalize it. Because if someone gets in your head, that's really on you. That is really on you. The last thing I want to say is I'd be very careful picking a fight with Daniil. He's very good at this. Medvedev's response to this thing. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll tell you what he said. I mean, first of all, he defended himself for the bathroom run. He didn't really talk about knocking the net stick over, which was savvy of him. It's savvy that he didn't talk about that because it's harder to defend. He basically said that there are some players who he feels bad about upsetting because he respects them and he likes them, like Khachanov and like Rublev, like Diego, who he had a little spat with at the ATP Cup. And then he made it very clear that Sasha is not one of those players whose opinion he values, that it doesn't bother him that Sasha is upset with him. He said, quote, "Look at yourself in the mirror," implying that Zverev is hypocritical to be saying these things. He said Sasha is, quote, "living in his own world." He was then asked about their relationship off the court. He said they're not close friends. They haven't been since juniors. He implied that Zverev has regularly exaggerated their relationship in trophy ceremonies. He also displayed some sensitivity and, in my mind, some intellect by acknowledging that he won't be too mad at Zverev for what he said because it could have been something that he said, just based more off the bitter disappointment and the heat of the moment after losing such a heartbreaking match. Be careful picking a fight with Daniil because, again, he's absolutely lethal. He's really good at this. Everyone on tour should think twice about engaging in this kind of thing with him because you're probably going to come out on the losing end. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.